This morning on The Dish, Chef Joe Isidori. He earned his stripes in his late father's New York kitchens, perfecting the art of Italian-American cuisine. But he earned his awards and accolades branching out on his own, like a 2009 Michelin star and viral fame with Black Tap Burger and its crazy shakes. But Isidori says he'd never quite found his voice in the industry until now, with an Italian-American restaurant in New York City's West Village, Arthur and Sons.
So my grandfather was Arthur Joseph. My father was Arthur Joseph. I'm Joseph Arthur, and my son's Roman Arthur. And that's the term Arthur and Sons.
4 generations woven into one restaurant, with Chef Joe Isidori at the helm.
Chef Joe's back in the kitchen.
Better known as Chef Joe on TikTok. There is nothing bland about him.
New York City, San Gennaro. We're here to eat. We're here to drink. We're here to play. And as we say at Arthur and Sons,
And now we can eat.
And now we can eat.
Now we can eat.
But
yes.
Can we drink first?
I love drinking first. Now we can drink.
Now we can drink.
Yes.
His effervescent personality, a part of everything he creates.
I'm going to take 2.
So good. That's
Maybe
dangerous,
3,
Joe.
Maybe 3. I'm going to go for a third.
From this limoncello spritz to the restaurant it's served in.
This is my favorite thing on the menu.
I was opening restaurants, and they're great restaurants, but it wasn't really my voice. It was like what people expected me to be. And I said, I have to do a project that is me.
He says Arthur and Sons is 1 part red sauce joint, 1 part 90s street art culture. Frank Sinatra meets hip hop.
When I was a kid, 14 years old, I would be in my father's kitchen, and I was listening to hip hop, Wu-Tang, Biggie. And I'd go in the dining room, and my father would be playing Frank Sinatra. So that kind of secret sauce right there was my business model.
In both look and taste.
Wow.
He took his father's playbook and modernized it. Like this Instagram-worthy eggplant appetizer. Fried eggplant, burrata, tomato, prosciutto, roasted peppers, and basil.
How do you eat that, though?
It's tough. Here, you want me to help you out?
Yes.
A dish his dad Artie was known for, and now Joe.
I'm going to look like a gavone trying to eat it.
This is a Gavone okay zone. See?
The texture. Oh, my God.
A little hot, little cold, little bit nice and creamy.
Another big seller, the spicy rigatoni alla vodka, using Calabrian chili paste for a clean heat.
I mean, people clamor to get in this restaurant just for that dish, and it's just a classic dish reinvented. That's it. I'm an old school kid.
One that was born into the family business.
I'm a 3rd generation New York City chef. My grandmother was a professional chef, 1964, like listed in the New York Times back then by Craig Claiborne. She was real deal, right? Then my dad became a chef. He's also a New York City chef.
Right.
And he would work like between Arthur Avenue, Mulberry Street. We had our own restaurants.
my parents had a sausage and pepper stand here in the 70s. They sold peaches and wine, sausage and peppers.
We paid a visit to those streets of Little Italy, a part of the Isidori family history.
I mean, Little Italy is just ingrained in the red sauce culture and the Italian-American history.
But Joe admits he didn't see it as part of his future when he was a teenager working in his dad's kitchen.
He would say, you know what your problem is? I say, what? You got champagne taste on a Budweiser budget, kid. He goes, you got to remember one thing in life and only one thing. I said, what's that? Chicken parm pays the bills. And what I did was I left the restaurant, I traveled the world, learned everything I could about fancy food. And at the end of the day, only one thing rang true. Chicken parm pays the bills. And here we are today.
Yes, chicken parm is on the menu at Arthur and Sons.
This is my father's recipe. I didn't mess with this one. I actually probably just put more cheese on it because I like cheese. You know, I always say Chef Joe's never basic. I'm only extra. So, you know, #1 seller at the restaurant.
Do you remember the first time you made his chicken parm?
Yeah, I was probably like 9. And I remember... So you're making me think of stories I haven't thought about in so long. My dad was complaining to the prep cook, and I remember my dad kind of giving this guy the business about the chicken cutlets not being pounded thin enough. And he looks at me and he goes, "Could you please show him?" I was 9. I went in and never came out. That's what it felt like. It was like he put me in the kitchen and said, "Good luck."
Luck was what I needed, trying to make my way through the rest of this feast before us. Shrimp scampi, fried calamari Mulberry Street style, burrata, and mom's meatballs.
And I add one little ingredient that changes it up. I use old-fashioned ricotta cheese, ricotta as we say, and I add that to the mix to keep it nice and moist.
I'm not even using the spoon now. I'm just going in.
You know, I've been eating these meatballs for a long time. You know, my mom always says it's always about your dad. Always about your dad. So I love you too, Mom. I can put your meatballs on the menu.
As good as each bite is, Joe Isidori says it's not the only thing that keeps customers coming back for more.
Always from Poppy to my meatballs.
I think it's all about personality, right? As long as you use your personality and you're nice to people and you make them feel warm and comfortable, you will win. And it's not about fancy. It's not about the chef. It's about personality. And this restaurant has personality, right? You're gonna get everything you want, everything you love, everything you enjoy, and maybe a little extra, a little cherry on top.
Speaking of, my trip to Arthur & Sons wouldn't have been complete without dessert.
So it is homemade pistachio ice cream, Nutella on the bottom, Amarini cherry, Amaretti cookie, a little powdered sugar. This is the best thing on the menu.
Or as Joe tells diners at the restaurant,
It's the best thing on the menu. So, and as we say, just make sure you save room for spumoni. And this is why, because that's the reaction we get.
Save room.
Oh my God.
Right?
It's stupid.
Best dessert ever.
And there she is. I love it. Come to Arthur & Sons. Come.
It's a family place.
It's a family place.
all joking aside, it is, in name and voice.
Ultimately, it's about my dad, but the more I think about it, it's for my son and the legacy of the Isidori family in New York City. I don't know if he'll be a chef. I don't know what he'll do.
He'll find
But at
his
the end of the
voice.
day, he'll find his voice. He'll realize chicken parm pays the bills. I'll be able to hopefully leave him a family heirloom called Arthur & Sons.
Exactly. Oh, I mean, if you can't tell, Joe was a blast to be with. I brought some of the food, which is delicious. I could not bring the best, dessert because it would have melted. But I hope you enjoy it. And I thought this was interesting about Joe. It was the family business, but he told me he originally wanted to be an artist. And he went to school for a couple of years for like art design.
Yeah.
And you see that in his food creations, like that eggplant stack that his dad did, but he also has. And when you watch him on TikTok, you can see those sensibilities in it. We talked about food being his medium now and the restaurant. So thank you, Joe. That was a blast.
So good.
stuff.
Yeah.